Merry Christmas! It's Christmas Day 2025, December 25th, 2025. I had a pretty nice Christmas. Celebrated with my 6-year-old daughter and my separated partner. It's a story that I may tell later, but suffice it to say, we're not together right now. However, it was lovely. I was thinking about it. So, in my channel, in my group on school, I focus a lot on the magic of children and how they kind of just manifest things without effort, and how they're living in this amazing flow state and they're in touch with pure conscious energy. Something that we all have experienced too. It's a connection point for all humans. Something that I'm just totally fascinated by in general, philosophically, but also fuels my passion for the coming technological revolutions that are about to really transform how humans interact with each other. So I was thinking about Christmas and putting this into a framework that really made me pause. And it was really something like this. It was basically this idea that every year I was thinking like, why do we do this? Why do we do this every year? Millions upon millions of adults essentially lie to millions upon millions of children that there is this man who lives in the North Pole, who flies reindeer and delivers presents to all of them all around the world every year. It's like this interesting delusion that we willingly put ourselves in. And I find that fascinating. It's like a performance, coordinated charade. Millions of adults who know better pretend all of this stuff. And we tell ourselves that this is for the kids. But I don't think we're being honest about that. If we're really honest, it's not for the kids. Really. Because, as I already alluded to, kids don't need this magic. Kids are already living in this magical state where they can pretend and be completely in line, sympathetic to consciousness, without effort. We do this because we forgot how to do that. We forgot how to be cosmic, conscious creators. Triple C, as I like to call it. I just made that up. I mean, I think about this too in general with holidays. I think it's fascinating what we undertake to just present holidays to each other. The amount of effort and energy and material resources we expend just to showcase to each other that we all are in on this idea that we celebrate Christmas. You know, from the religious orientation or from the total material cultural orientation. It doesn't really matter. That's not my focus here. I'm more interested in like the amount of effort that we undergo to facilitate something like Christmas or Halloween, Thanksgiving, Valentine's Day. I mean, think about Christmas just by itself. The lights, the stories, the rituals, the pretending, the presents, the gift wrap, the trees, the decorations. It's an enormous synchronized act of belief. I mean, I've read a lot of books about myth and mythology, and it's always fascinating to me how cultures kind of create their own mythological universe and the lengths that they've undergone to create the narrative of their mythical universe. And it's dawned on me that we're doing the exact same thing with Christmas. I mean, whether or not it's the religious perspective of our Savior, Jesus Christ, being born as the Son of God to wash us and absolve us of our sins, to help us become children in the eyes of God, or whether this is just a cultural phenomenon of kind of brotherhood and gift giving, really coming together as people. It's just fascinating. We don't really use this as a synchronized act of belief in Santa per se. It's more about facilitating a belief in wonder. You notice every single Christmas movie, that is the message at the end of it all. There's no Christmas movie that's basically saying at the end that definitively Santa is real. The Christmas message is always there's wonder, there's awe, there's beauty in loving each other. There's something to be sanctified about celebrating this holiday together. And what's really strange about all of this is the moment a child stops believing in Santa, this great mythology that we've procured in the West to sell Christmas. I use that term semi-ironically. The moment that a child stops believing in it, we mourn it. We kind of take a step back and we're sad about it, if we reflect on it at all. I mean, I think that's what a lot of parents hopefully feel. Maybe that's increasingly becoming less likely as the focus of holidays like these gets more and more materialistic. I mean, but we mourn that not because they lost something. It's because we remember what that felt like. We're mourning that feeling from our perspective, from what we felt when we were kids and when we believed in this spirit of Santa, what Santa represents in us, in our childhoods, in our inner child. Of course, the caveat being we didn't all have amazing childhoods, I'm sure. But the general prescription of Christmas as a collective holiday is procuring that wonderment. And when we are adults and we see children kind of click that Santa may not be real, it's sad. I mean, don't you think that? Don't you think it's sad when a kid loses their belief in Santa? I do. I think it's sad. But here's my greater point. What Christmas really does is it forces adults into contact with their inner child. For a brief window each year, we're basically required to slow down. I mean, I say this all kind of tongue in cheek, to slow down. That is like the whole goal of Christmas, I believe. I think it's pretty self-evident that's what the goal is. To slow down, to interact, to play, to give of ourselves, to be more about sharing brotherly love than really, getting things, getting free stuff. The act of giving is what's important about Christmas. And this act of giving, I think, has increasingly become more uncomfortable as our society really leans into the materialism of Christmas. Because what does that entail? I mean, Christmas now becomes really a huge focal point of stress for our society. The amount of flights that are happening only because of this one day, that all around the country, people just going 1,000 miles to spend 2 days at their family's house, the house that they grew up in. I mean, whether or not they're feeling like a genuine desire to be reconnected with their family has become less and less part of the tradition. It's more, I think, more and more becoming about the material element. But that's kind of an aside. That's a kind of a point that, I could talk about for a long time, but that's not the whole reason why I'm making this video. It's just Christmas becomes overstimulating. It becomes too much. But I think what that really means, though, what it is in the grand scheme of things, is that it's unfamiliar. Let me tell you what I mean by that. If we zoom out far enough, Christmas really stops being about presents or religion or nostalgia. It really becomes a cosmic function of reintegration. And what I mean by that is our ego, the part of us that's obsessed with productivity, with our status, with control, with all sorts of things, is necessarily, temporarily interrupted because of Christmas. And in that interruption, I think consciousness, this kind of like jolt of energy that we expend to make Christmas happen, to make it a social function, consciousness really becomes released again within our egos. This whole event is basically a way for us to reintegrate with our own consciousness. We get that voice again. We get that connection. We get that generosity. We get the story. We get that family, the meaning behind things. Even if we're not doing it as consciously, this type of energy is happening subconsciously. So that idea I consider to be like an annual reset. This is something that we do every year, not because we forget this story or we need to be reminded of what is going on, why Christmas is a thing. But I think in a true cosmic reality sense, it's because we forget ourselves. It's an annual reset. It's a cultural checkpoint that asks, who are we becoming? Really? In the most optimistic lens, that's what I really believe. What have we lost this year? What would it look like to bring it back? This is us communicating with our, stepping outside of our ego. I think this happens in a subconscious level for all of us. I mean, until you really start paying attention to who you are and what your ego represents to you, you don't really internalize this. So I think Christmas isn't really about keeping kids innocent. That's not the focus of why we have Christmas. I think maybe it's about reminding adults of what innocence feels like. It's a subconscious expression to help us reconnect with what that cosmic consciousness is, so that we don't build systems to completely crush it, to completely stamp it out of our reality, which I believe we are increasingly doing. Because a society that can't remember what wonder and awe and just unbridled imagination feels like is a society that can't imagine a better future, that is dystopic, that is black-pilled, that only sees AI coming to take over the world and destroy us all. And that kind of society can't progress. So I think if Christmas is something that feels emotional to you or heavy or stressful, or even there are moments where it's strangely like profound, I don't think it's because you're just stressed out from your job and you're tired and you're taking a break. I think it's because there's something within all of us, an instinct. There's an ancient instinct in all of us that's being invited back in to resurface during Christmas, not to escape reality, but to re-enter it in a holistic way. So, Merry Christmas. I hope some of that resonated. Just kind of a philosophical ranting that I'm trying to keep up with and really make my priority here on this channel. But I focus on kids, Generation Alpha, shifting the paradigm for parenting Generation Alpha, and focusing on the future, being conscious of the advantages that we have that we can take advantage of, and the technology that we can use to leverage those advantages. So if any of that is interesting to you, please like and subscribe, comment. I'm always down for a good discussion. I love comments. I love comment sections on any platform. I spend way too much time on them. So if you're down to leave like a long, thought-provoking comment, I will probably respond. I'll definitely respond right now since I have 3 followers. But this is a goal to just keep this moving for into 2026. And I hope to get a clearer and better at presenting my message, and hope that you guys find me by connecting with the cosmos. I hope the universe guides you to me.